As a DevOps engineer, a major part of your duties will involve automating the task that would normally be done manually, saving a huge amount of production time in the process. In the last episode, we made connections into our virtual machines using SSH, but we cannot log in without having to supply the password of the user that we are trying to log in as. That is okay if you are logging in from your regular local computer only to perform administrative tasks or whatever tasks you need to perform manually. In this episode, we are going to configure our app server to not require passwords when we SSH into it from Jane's desktop. This is most useful when you run automation scripts, say CI/CD script for example. You will store your script in one server and run them on some other servers. Of course, there will be no human intervention during the process. Therefore, there will be no one to type passwords. Otherwise, the purpose of the automation will be defeated. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say I want to SSH into the app server from Jane's desktop. I am currently on Jane's desktop using party terminal. To SSH into the app server, I will run this command: SSH John at the IP address of the app server, which is 192.168.56.101. I will type yes and press enter to add the app server IP address to the list of known hosts. You can see we need to supply John's password to log into the app server as John. I will type the password and press enter, and the connection is successful. What we are going to do now is to make John at app server trust any SSH connections coming from Jane at Jane desktop. The first thing I'm going to do is to generate a pair of SSH keys for Jane at Jane desktop. I will type exit and press enter to close the current connection. I will clear my screen. So make sure you are at Jane's home directory. You can confirm that by running pwd. I will run this command ssh-key Jane to generate a pair of SSH keys for Jane. The suggested path for the keys is okay, so press enter. Press enter for empty passphrase. Press enter. The keys are generated successfully and stored in the specified path LA to list all files. Here is the .ssh folder where the SSH keys are stored. Type ls.ssh to list the files in the .ssh folder. Here we have id_rsa, the private key, id_rsa.pub, the public key, and known host, which contains the list of known hosts. We are going to make use of the public key. First, I will copy the content of the public key, cat.ssh/id_rsa.pub, to display the key. Highlight the content, then press Ctrl C to copy. Now log into the app server as John. I will list the content of John's home directory, both hidden and non-hidden. I don't have a .ssh folder, so I am going to create one with this command: mkdir.ssh. LA again to make sure. I now have a .ssh folder. Next, I will create a file named authorized_keys in the folder with this command: touch.ssh/authorized_keys. Take note of the spellings here because it's so easy to make mistakes. ls.ssh to confirm you have the file. Next, I will edit the file: nano.ssh/authorized authorized underscore keys. To paste, I will just right click. That is done. Press Ctrl X to save the file. Press Y for yes, then press enter. And that is all we have to do. Let's go back to Jane at Jane desktop to make the SSH connection again. The connection is successful. Henceforth, user Jane from Jane's desktop will not have to supply John's password to SSH into the app server as John. How cool is that? And that is it for this episode. I will see you in the next one.